Hello. Hello, this is Philip Carr-Gomm speaking to you live and yet hesitant because I can still hear the music playing. And I think I know why.
Hello, this is Philip Carr-Gomm speaking to you live.
And it's also on Instagram, and it tells me,
because I can still hear the music playing.
It tells me to mute.
Hello, this is
Maybe I can just
speaking to
that. I don't know what's happening, but I'm so sorry. It's this usual technology thing. I can stream on Instagram. Anyway. Hello. So this is Tea with the Druid, 287. We're a few days off the winter solstice, and my name is Philip Carr-Gomm, and Tea with the Druid is brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. And to mark this very special occasion, I am going to light this candle and welcome everybody into the circle. Lovely to see you. If it's still working on Instagram, I had to click on the tab because of the noise, the feedback. If you're there on Instagram, lovely to see you. This is the first time Tea with the Druid is coming on Instagram, which is great. It looks far away on the screen, but it's really close to me. I have to move it away a bit to avoid singeing myself. How are you? How are you all? Do come in and don't get yourself comfortable yet. Normally I say make yourself at home. No, just hang on a bit. Like in all good Druid ceremonies, when there are a lot of us, there's a bit of milling about at the beginning. Let's mill about, because I'm going to suggest we go into a cave rather than into our usual sacred grove. But let's imagine we're gathering in the sacred grove first, meeting each other, connecting with old friends, meeting new friends, and then we'll set off for the cave together. Meanwhile, let's see. So yes, all over the place: Arizona, Delaware, Cape Cod, hey, British Columbia, Peachland, British Columbia. How nice. Sunny Dallas, Texas, Bavaria. Echoes galore, said David. I hope not anymore. Sounds fine now, says Pat. Hello from Barkham. That was quite groovy. I hope so. Yeah, great. Okay, Glastonbury and Artaz and Massachusetts and Wales and all over the place. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's take a moment to just settle. And in settling, to come to a place of stillness, perhaps, but maybe it's hard to come to a place of stillness. Just check in, see how you feel. Before we set off for the cave, just type in how you're feeling. It would be lovely to just get a sense of the overall and the varied range of feelings and states we're experiencing. Relaxed and a bit tired, says Albie. It's a very cavey time of year, says Nami. Muddled on Monday. Shut down, worn down. I'm sorry to hear that, Gina. Let's have a look. Peaceful, quiet and content, feeling good, tired and sleepy, heavy-hearted. They're coming in fast now. Mellow, up and down, needing some rest. Tired but glad for a few days break. Almost sleeping, says Maggie. An all-pervading feeling of being not ready. Mainly relaxed, content after a good afternoon. A mixture of everything. Icky and COVID-y, but happy to be here. Haunted by past conflicts. Tired, anticipating upcoming change. Content and at peace. Sleepy, bunged up with a cold. There are lots of colds about at the moment. Wonderful to be here from Kent to strengthen my soul with what needs to be harnessed and supported emotionally. Fair to middling. Tired, excited and a bit anxious. Happy to be here from NY. Stressed from last week of term with students going bonkers. Had a nap, now peaceful and contented. Positive and peaceful. Okay-ish. Solstitial. Robbie is feeling solstitial. grateful for respite from a local storm. Literally holding my horses, so blessed, but also stressed as we wait for his shoes. Wow, somebody's shoeing a horse and watching tea with a druid at the same time, like on your phone or something. That's extraordinary. Like in a magical cocoon, a little stressed, tired, feeling a bit ill. Chilled. Okay, great to see everybody. Okay, so now is the time. Here, the time seems to rush by, doesn't it? I'm kind of not ready for the solstice. Feels like it should be in about 2 weeks' time somehow. That's just where I'm at, I suppose. So many things happening. But as you may well know, the solstice is the nadir of the year, the time of the longest night. Of course, if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's totally different. You're experiencing about to experience the summer solstice. But up in the northern hemisphere here, it's the time of the winter solstice, and the nights are getting longest on the 22nd Eastern Standard Time over in the States, on the 21st in the UK. It's going to be the solstice. That's going to be the time of the longest night. And then the good news is the days are gradually going to get longer and it's going to get warmer. But what I'd like to suggest we do is share a little bit of I'm going to give you a reading from, I've been writing a book with the wonderful artist Jamie Reed, who sadly died in the autumn. It's going to be published in May. It's going to be called Time for Magic, and it's about the eightfold wheel of the year. And so I'm going to invite you all to come into the cave. You know, the card from the Druid animal. Oh, it's up on the shelf there. Where's my hand? There. Woo, there up on the shelf. You probably can't see it, but if you're on a big screen, you can. The bear coming out of the cave, Asht, the old Gaelic word for the bear, and Irish, I think. So with all the resonances to King Arthur and so on. And the idea of the hero sleeping in the cave and then being reborn in a time of need. So let's now just imagine ourselves going up to this cave. And there's a way, I think, that we can use the imagination in a kind of meditative way, but without saying it's a meditation. It's almost like as soon as you say, let's do a meditation, we all have to get ready and kind of, make some effort. But a bit like telling a story, if we just allow ourselves to imagine that we're having an experience, we can kind of drop into this meditative, calmer, relaxed, special state, whatever it is. So just from being here in the forest clearing, I'd like to invite you to just walk out from the forest clearing. And you see we're going through the trees now, and it's this lovely crisp winter night. The stars are out. The frosty ground crunches underneath our feet. And there's some snow around us. The snow is starting to softly fall. And we're coming to the entrance to a cave. It's a big cave. There are a lot of us. There are 256 of us here at the moment. And so all of us can fit in this cave. It's a big cave. We're coming in. If you don't like caves, if they make you feel claustrophobic, then just hang out on the edge, because it's a big open cave, so you can go in. If you enjoy the cave experience, then come in. You might like to be around the back where it's nice and dark. Oh, and maybe there's a bear just quietly there. We'll be really soft. We'll kind of tune in and become like bears ourselves, just padding into the cave. And it's okay. He's okay. Somehow we're in tune. Maybe he's hibernating. Snow on the ground, standing in the circle. And in essence, the ceremony that we as Druids do, and other people, pagans and nature, spirituality people do as well, is at the heart of it is an opening to the nourishing power of the dark, just allowing ourselves to let go completely. The autumn was a time of shedding, of the shedding of leaves. And at a spiritual level, a shedding of attachments, maybe even a shedding of the attachment to the body, because it's the time where we honor those who have passed on. It's the time associated in the eightfold wheel of the year with death, the process of letting go. So this real sense of shedding. But there's a way in which in nature, and I believe the life of the soul too, it's everything is in continuous movement. And so the shedding that occurs at Samhain and the complete letting go that we associate with death and with Samhain is actually just part of a process. And the shedding continues right the way around to the winter solstice. Some people talk about this process called the second death, where the first death is where you drop the body and the etheric body or the energy body, but then you're still attached to aspects of the personality, whether you want to call it the astral body or the lower mental body as well, and so on, however you term it, but the ego, all these different things. But then there's this idea that there's when you're ready to let go of that, you have a second death, and you shed that too, so that you're, pure soul or spirit. So just taking that idea on board for a moment, we can see how, well, we shed the body at Samhain, and then we've got another 6 weeks or so going around to the winter solstice, where we're still shedding, we're letting go of those little attachments that we had to the earth, to people we love, and so just letting go until we can just become, reunite with our, or whatever, be our essence or something. In which case, if we just hold that as a sort of idea, if you like, without clinging to it as if it's the truth, as if we could know the truth about that. But if we hold that as an idea, then the shedding at Samhain simply carries on, just carries on around, letting go, letting go, letting go. And now is the supreme time of letting go. The winter solstice. Of course, it's only a moment, because the solstice occurs and then the days start to get longer, and then the energy builds, and then you enter a whole different cycle of building and growing and development, from the summer solstice round into the spring equinox, round to the summer solstice, and so on. But in that moment, we can enter no time. We can enter this moment of no time. And so what we do in Druid ceremonies is we, it only really works if you're doing a ceremony indoors, because outdoors there's light from the moon and the stars, and if you've lit a big fire, you don't want to put the whole fire out to make it dark. But if you're doing a ceremony indoors, you can have this effect where at a certain moment you blow out the light. And I'm going to invite you to imagine that we're just all together in this cave, this big cave now, and where there's this big candle that I'm holding in the middle here, and I'm just going to blow it out to mark the longest night, the deepest time just before the dawn of the summer solstice, the winter solstice, which is in 3 days or something. I blow it out, and there's just darkness in the cave. And I'll just read you this piece about the winter solstice. And just listen to it like a meditation or like a piece of prose. Just as spring and summer are like light sleep, with autumn like dream sleep, full of visions and lurking fears about the onset of darkness, now is the time of deep sleep. Maybe it's the real you at this time, the smiling front you put on in spring and summer, now fallen like autumn leaves to leave you bare in the ground, like a seed pod, like bare bones at the back of the cave of the ancestors you visited at Samhain. a place of clarity, everything black and white here on this earth, white bones in the darkness, night sky outside revealing Arthur holding court, the pole star reminding us that we are steering true, however lost we may feel. No wonder the ancestors built some of their monuments to face the drama of the rising midwinter sun, its piercing ray reaching deep into the heart of Maze How in Orkney, Newgrange in Ireland. Here were places where our bones could be re-inspirited, enlivened again at the sun's turning and rebirth, where initiates could stagger like newborns out of the womb of the earth, filled with the vision of the brightness of rebirth, with a chance to do it all again. No wonder the classical authors wrote that the Druids believed in reincarnation. Their ancestors built these places. Here, after resting in the earth for so long, safe in the embrace of Mother Earth, let's sit in darkness in a solstice ceremony and light this candle in the center of our circle. It represents the birth of the year, the birth of the sun child, the beginning of the revolution towards all things good, as old Archdruid MacGregor Reed once wrote. So out of this darkness, let's light this candle. And of course, in 3 days' time, when you get to the time of the solstice, this is when you can do a ritual either with a group or on your own. And if you look on the druidry.org website, you'll see there's some suggestions for solo rituals. And if you're a member of the order, you'll see a solo ritual offered to you as well. So we're just doing a kind of rehearsal, or just a preview of where we'll be in a few days' time. And then let's each of us take a candle and light it from the central candle until we all sit together in this circle, like a gathering of fire sprites around a warm hearth, around the mother light, the sun. Nothing to do but bask, nothing to do but to be together here, part of the revolution, following the tide towards the summer, toward doing and being in the world. And here, have this sprig of mistletoe, timeless seed of the god brought to earth by the golden sickle of the sun. They call it all heal, but don't try eating it, it's poison. Instead, kiss under it. Bring it into your house as a token of the love god Angus Og, of the sun goddess Grania, and let it be there among your decorations for your next celebration a few days later. That is, if you celebrate Christmas. Up until the 4th century, the birth of Christ wasn't celebrated, and the biblical accounts suggest a spring birth for Jesus. But how appropriate that the birth of a child, supposed to be the light for the world, should be just after the solstice. This solstice dawn awakening doesn't mean energetically plunging into life. The winter world is still a sleepy place. The newly born sun still an infant needing to lie close to mother. Its light still weak, but growing stronger every day. You can sleep again, waiting for the next turn of the wheel, the next festival that will wake you up again. That's Imbolc, to remind you that yes, the day is beginning. That even though it is still dark, it is getting lighter, and that while the birth at midwinter may have been of your spirit, a conception of sorts in the depths of your soul, this next birth is going to be one which pushes you out into the world to get you working. Because, of course, Imbolc is the festival of birth and of the newborn child. So there you are. So that's just a little bit that I've read to you from the book that I've just been working on the Eightfold Wheel of the Year. It's going to be published in May with beautiful illustrations by Jamie Reed, who's the nephew of the old Chief Druid MacGregor Reed, who I quoted in that piece. What can I say? The world, as ever, is in a difficult place. You know, when I look back on things I've written and broadcasts I've made on Tea with the Druid, I'm always talking about how difficult things are. You know, the war, pandemics, way back to 9/11, all sorts of difficult stuff going on. And yet, there's this beauty in the human spirit. There's this light in every soul, I believe. And there's this deeper purpose working through life, so that despite appearances, despite everything we're aware of that is so challenging and so difficult, and often so hopeless, or so it seems, nevertheless, there's this little flame burning. That's why the symbol of the perpetual flame is so beautiful and so important. It's so symbolic that, and there's a power in it. So let's, however small your flame feels inside, however kind of tiny that flame is, or even if you feel it's almost gone out, but there are embers, there's this lovely image of, or idea where you take the embers in your heart and you gently blow on them so that they warm and they burst into flame at some point. And now is a time not to force any great brightness, because it's still the time of winter. And as I finished that piece that I read to you about how it's okay, you can go back to sleep, basically, because the alarm clock will go again at Imbolc, and that's the time for birth. So it's as if Olbanarthan, the winter solstice, is the time of rebirth of the spirit, if you like. Perhaps again, if we're taking this into life kind of idea, perhaps there's the second death, and then there's the beginning of the process of rebirth, coming down through the levels of being until Imbolc symbolizes actual physical rebirth. As S.M. Jenkin is saying, rest and be gentle. That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, next Monday, I was reminded just before I went on air that it's Christmas Day. I haven't even checked on the calendar. Yes, it is. Next Monday is Christmas Day, and the following Monday is New Year's Day. So let's have a fortnight off, and I shall miss you terribly. And but let's meet again in 3 weeks' time, essentially, which will be the January the where are we? January the 8th. January the 8th, in 3 weeks' time. So we have two weeks of No Tea with the Druid. And as Alan says, let's hold space for the better world we can co-create. Exactly. That's absolutely lovely. So have very beautiful solstice, have a wonderful Yule, and lots of love to everybody. And I can see lots of people wishing each other love. That's great. There's a wonderful feeling of love and connection and community in this group. And so many, many blessings. And if you're watching the recording, many, many blessings. Much love to you, and see you in 2024. Okay. Bye, everybody. Oh, I haven't turned it off. Sorry. Sorry. I was checking to see if it was on Instagram, and it is. I've got to turn it off. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye.